the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught.
I have been traveling in southern Africa for almost 2 decades, documenting wildlife, landscapes, and people in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. You either love the continent of Africa or you don't. There's nothing in between. This time we are traveling to Kenya and Tanzania for the first time. This is the story of the search for the Big Tuskers in Amboseli, the rare Grevy zebra in Samburu, the last 2 northern white rhinos in Ol Pejeta Conservancy, and the first time I experience the unforgettable great migration of thousands of wildebeest in the Serengeti in Tanzania. This is Africa, which we love so much. Our almost 3-week trip through Kenya and Tanzania began on February 12, 2025, with a visit to the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in Nairobi. We have been supporting Sheldrick for years by sponsoring orphan elephants, and were visibly touched by the morning feeding of the young elephants who are raised here as orphans. Every elephant here has its own destiny. Sheldrick's goal is for these intelligent animals to be released back into the wild one day. Despite us spectators, the baby elephants were surprisingly calm. This means that they are very well looked after by their keepers and have complete trust in them. An unforgettable and heartwarming experience for us. The next day, we started our actual journey through Kenya and Tanzania. Our first destination was Amboseli National Park. However, shortly before reaching our destination, our driver David had to have the Land Cruiser checked at short notice as a warning light on the alternator was showing. In fact, a corresponding part had to be replaced, Kenya Bush workshop style. Amboseli National Park is located in the south of Kenya. It is known for its large herds of elephants and the view of the mighty Mount Kilimanjaro across the Tanzanian border. The diverse wildlife includes giraffes, zebras, cheetahs, and hundreds of bird species. The western area is characterized by the huge Amboseli Lake, which dries up outside the rainy season. The Treetops Lodge in Aberdare National Park exudes this ambience from earlier times. In absolute tranquility, with few guests, you sleep heavenly at 2,000 meters above sea level. It was at this lodge in 1953 that Princess Elizabeth found out that she was to become queen. One of the famous safari destinations in East Africa. Samburu National Reserve is located in northern Kenya and is a premier game reserve situated on the banks of the Ngorongoro River. This vast expanse of remote pristine wilderness measures 165 square kilometers in area and borders the Ngorongoro River to the south, which separates it from the Buffalo Springs National Reserve. Samburu Reserve is a unique wildlife conservation haven famous for an abundance of rare species of animals, such as the Grevy zebra, Somali ostrich, reticulated giraffe, Gerenuk, and the Besa oryx. The reserve is also home to a population of close to 900 elephants. Large predators such as the lion, leopard, and cheetah are an important attraction. Kamunyak, the famous lioness that adapted a baby oryx, is a resident in the reserve. Samburu is in fact one of the better locations in Kenya to spot leopard. Wild dog sightings are also a common attraction to this unique protected area, and bird life is abundant with over 450 recorded species. Even though we are usually not allowed to leave the paths here in Kenya, we are often very close to the wild animals and can admire them, like today in the middle of a herd of elephants, magical. The Samburu are a Nilotic people of north-central Kenya. Traditionally, they are semi-nomadic pastoralists who primarily herd cattle, but also keep sheep, goats and camels. They refer to themselves as Lokop or Loikop, a term with varied interpretations among the Samburu. Some believe it means owners of the land, Lo meaning ownership, and Kop meaning land. Former cattle farm, Ol Pejeta was converted into an animal sanctuary at the end of the 1980s to counteract the massive poaching of elephants and rhinos. Many know Baraka as the rhino ambassador to humans. He offers visitors the unique experience of getting up close and personal with an adult black rhino. The name Baraka means blessings and is of Swahili origin. Baraka was born in 1994 in the wild, making him one of the first rhinos born at Ol Pejeta. He now lives in an enclosure at Ol Pejeta after losing sight in both eyes due to a fight and then a cataract. This is the sad story about the last two northern white rhinos, Najin and Fatu. Zakaria Mutai, the head caregiver, has been lovingly caring for the two remaining rhinos for years. A story that has touched us all deeply and shows once again that people, using war, not only cause suffering to other people, but above all to animals that are threatened with extinction.
So when they are staying together by far distance, you cannot tell the difference. They look the same by far. It's only when we come very close like this, you can tell the fluffy ears when we come closer to the northern white rhinos. Yeah, and the skin texture is somehow rough and more dotted skin for the northern, much smoother skin for the southern white rhino. You can see the shape of the horn now very clearly. It's like a V shape for the southern. The northern white rhino have much more open space. So for the two young friends, Fatu and the southern white rhino, they are two good friends and they are teaming up to fight their mom. So we keep cutting their horns off to be short so that wherever they fight, it doesn't hurt each other. And the horn is made of keratin like human fingernails and it continues growing back. And the origin of these northern white rhinos were northern part of Africa. They were from Congo, Sudan, Chad and western part of Uganda. And there was a lot of political war in those countries and that's why we have got only the last two. They were being affected by the war and poachers take advantage of the war and they kill most of them. Yeah. And right now, the only way we can save them is through the science. We were able to extract semen of several males of northern white rhinos before they died. And from these two candidates, Najin and Fatu, we have been extracting eggs like about 25 times. And we have been using the frozen semen to fertilize the eggs. And currently, we have 35 embryos in total. The next step is to implant, and we don't take any risk by using the two. We are using the southern white rhinos as potential surrogate mothers. Northern and southern white rhino are subspecies, and they carry the same gestation period of up to 16-month age. Yeah. So in case of any great success, still the baby to be born is a pure northern white rhino, but being cared by the southern white rhino. And that is the only option we can save them. But naturally, there is no possibility. Yeah.
It's all in our hands, this life of time that's given to us all. It gathers round each night, each morn. We watch it pass and grow. It is all in our hands, it is all in our.
Located in Nakuru County, Lake Naivasha is a large freshwater lake which sits just outside the town of Naivasha. Situated at an elevation of 1,884 meters, Lake Naivasha is the highest lake within the Great Rift Valley. With a surface area of 139 square kilometers, Lake Naivasha dominates the landscape, and it is surrounded by a swamp which covers an area of around 64 square kilometers. Beyond the swampland, the lake is encircled by forests of the fever tree. Lake Naivasha is famous for its high populations of hippos and flamingos. There are over 1,500 hippos in the area, and you are almost guaranteed to see one. The lake is a birder's paradise as it is home to over 400 bird species. Maasai Mara National Reserve is an area of pristine savanna in southwestern Kenya on the Tanzanian border. The animals that live there include lions, cheetahs, elephants, zebras, and hippos. Wildebeest cross the vast expanses during their annual migration. The landscape is characterized by grassy plains and rolling hills and is crossed by the Mara and Talek rivers. The perfect place to take an early morning balloon ride. This is the famous Mara River, where every year in August during the Great Migration, thousands of wild beasts and zebras cross the river and hundreds of crocodiles are already waiting for them. I think everyone knows the movie Serengeti shall not die from their childhood. I saw the movie several times in my youth and I always wanted to go there. The German movie documentary by Michael Griemek and his father Bernhard was filmed in 1959. Tragically, Michael died at the end of filming. The film tells the story of the beginnings of the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. At the end of the 1950s, the Tanzanian National Park Administration wanted to fence off the protected area around the Ngorongoro Crater. Michael Griemek was invited by the National Park Administration in 1957 to get a precise picture of the animal migrations and to provide the National Park Administration with the data it needed for its project. I am sure that for many people the term Serengeti is associated with Africa, wildlife and safari par excellence. And they are all right. Serengeti shall not die. A better representation of the circle of life probably cannot be found anywhere else in the world. The Great Migration. The journey starts in southern Serengeti when wildebeest calves are being born. Predators like lions and hyenas are constantly hunting for babies, and thousands of calves are born within a couple weeks of each other, a feast for the eyes of true wildlife enthusiasts. When the drought comes in May, the herd of roughly 2 million wildebeest moves north towards the Maasai Mara in Kenya, chomping down the high green grass, quickly followed by the gazelles and zebras. But there are not only countless losers among the wildebeest in this annual spectacle, there are also always losers among the lions. Life is not easy for these big cats in this unforgiving landscape. But seeing a group of lions collaborating to hunt down a wildebeest is an unforgettable sight. Then, with the beginning of the short rains in late October, the migration makes its way back into the Serengeti to return to their calving grounds again, and the circle is complete. Other than being the biggest intact and unbroken volcanic caldera on Earth, the Ngorongoro Crater is also a natural sanctuary for some of the densest populations of large mammals in Africa. Due to its enclosed nature, the Ngorongoro Crater has effectively formed its own ecosystem. After more than 3,300 kilometers, our almost 3-week trip through Kenya and Tanzania ends in Tarangire National Park. Known for its thousands of elephants and baobab trees, as well millions of zeze flies. Looking back, we spent an exhausting but very impressive time in Kenya and Tanzania and are returning home with many wonderful impressions. Thanks for watching. If you liked the documentary, I would appreciate a like or a comment or a subscription. There's more to come in the future. Stay tuned.